Hi, my name is Justin Middleton, and I'm a graduate student at North Carolina State University. My colleagues and I have been studying some of the challenges of software development work in communities, and in general, that's a pretty good gig because software has effects in nearly every major community of our lives, either as a visible actor or as part of the invisible infrastructures that shape the work that keep things going. At the same time, we as a research culture are still figuring out the best ways to generate, curate, and act on the massive amounts of data that our technologies produce. These two knowledge areas, software and data analysis, intersect and diverge at various points, providing new opportunities for progress, just as they provide new problems for us to overcome. But we believe that by studying areas where both manifest, we can give better handle on the processes of either knowledge area. This research community in particular has already explored pressures in traditional sciences, for example, like ecology and astronomy, or in business, but we chose a slightly different approach. Instead, we looked at baseball, one of the most popular sports in the United States and internationally. It is at once athletic, commercial, and cultural, but most importantly for our purposes, analytic. From its origin, it has been a sport for statisticians as well, popularizing formats for debate over player performance or for a good strategy for moving players around the bases to get more points. And for us as researchers, it's been especially appealing because much of the discussion about it is thoroughly public with books and shows and websites and other public spaces that incorporate both analytical and developmental tools. So then we get to our question, which is, how does the community of baseball analysts employ software techniques to support their data work? Or how is software development integrated into a context-specific skill set? And we asked this through two broad questions. First, how do they acquire and develop their developmental skills? And second, by what processes do they apply and realize software development skills in their data work? And we got at this through conversations and surveys with a number of different people, from professional employees of major league teams to independent consultants to researchers for sports statistics to hobbyists dealing with fantasy leagues. We analyzed the patterns to find consonance between literature and practice, which for the breadth of topics that we uncovered was arduous enough in a single publication, not to mention the 5 minutes that I have to summarize it all right now. This is in part because the questions detail a microcosm of analytic practice full of variety. Our materials address a number of questions, such as those pictured here now, and they depict various forms of doing the work oriented around a community center of interest. To be sure, despite the variety, there are commonalities which bind the community. For example, they share similar programmatic and intellectual toolkits, the skills of which can be acquired individually but must be synthesized with the other knowledge areas through deliberate and targeted practices and resources. Yet despite the low cost of entry into participation within this field, there is room for those from nearly any background to contribute. In terms of application, the overall approach of the analyst we talk to prefers a flexible posture towards defining or discovering the analytic question, encouraging a practice where exploratory coding, for example, is preferable to the precise designs and complex frameworks that might be more appropriate later or elsewhere. Nevertheless, there are challenges in the coherence of a community as well. For one thing, referring to it all as analytics doesn't give it the full credit to the variety of specializations that participants can inhabit within the work, including the focuses of statisticians, of developers, and data curators, all to focus on different targets which support a common work altogether. And the work of software as well can be shaped very differently based on the context in which it occurs. For example, the work of a major league employee who has to respond to over 162 games in a regular baseball year is going to be fundamentally different in terms of stakeholders and calendar, for example, than academic researchers and fantasy league hobbyists. And in these situations of collaboration, informed negotiation can be challenging, and concepts that have meaning in different spheres, such as in data and software, such as testing, for example, can be muddled or contested, and there be challenges in coming together and trying to share a practice around those. Now, there's a lot more that I couldn't talk about here, so if you're interested in topics like these, or if you want to hear more about this, I encourage you to read the paper or contact me at the email here. Nevertheless, I thank you for your time overall and wish you the best conference to come.